All right, so I'm going to make this rather brief. I'm not necessarily a scholar of Malcolm X, but certainly I'm an admirer of him. I don't necessarily worship him or anybody else for that matter. I think it's good to admire and admire qualities, but when it gets up to hero worship and basically deifying someone, then you're coming into problems. Malcolm X was born on this day, May 19th, in Omaha, Nebraska, and basically after his father, believed to be murdered in Lansing, Michigan, was sent to, I believe, group and foster homes, and then was basically a criminal, and then went to prison. From there, he was introduced to the Nation of Islam and became a Muslim. What I admire about Malcolm X is his discipline. From my understanding, he was a man who read the entire library, and I read the entire dictionary, and I believe just read about every book in the library. He was a voracious reader, and also someone who quit all the drugs he was taking and quit smoking, and basically led a life of discipline, and was disciplined in both his eating habits and his mouth, something that I'm not. I am someone who is much more emotional than Malcolm X. I wish, one of the things I wish I wasn't as emotional or as angered. I'm better at controlling that, and there are things that I've done in my life that, that I've improved, but I certainly want to improve more. I'm actually fasting. I saw that today was his birthday, and I'm actually fasting for today to be disciplined. And that's the one thing that I admire. Uh, I don't know if I'd agree with everything that he said, but he comes from a past, and he is a product of his environment, and he's a product of his time. And again, if I believe that my father had been murdered by the Klan or white racist, uh, and then I was sent into a foster care system or the orphanage system, I would also probably have a chip on my shoulder about the establishment in which he lived in. But there are people that kind of are wannabes, and they didn't have not even half the difficulty of the life of Malcolm X, and they certainly don't follow his teachings of being polite. They're usually far more confrontational than he ever was, and that's the behavior of today. Those that admire Malcolm X, a lot of them, again, are not disciplined people, particularly when it comes to anger. I consider Malcolm X to be, from what I've observed, to be somewhat of a master Stoic, and not one who was easily taken to anger. And he was a masterful debater, and that was primarily because of his discipline. And now I'm going to get into the woke left and into the MAGA. Today, again, the red-pilled community is very much marginalized, and I want to. Oh, this is a new listener of mine. Keep doing, man, and I agree. Fasting is great. Yeah, it is great for the overall body and the cleansing of the body and of the mind. And that's one of the things that, in my opinion, to best fight the woke community is to be disciplined, Doesn't matter if you win or lose, but if people disrespect you and disrespect common sense and knowledge, you just say, "Well, I won't buy from you." And there are plenty of other alternatives and things that you can do in order to someone's mentioning Ben Crump. I don't want to. I'm not going to go in too much with the things of that today are about Ben Crump. I just wanted to make this a rather brief video and say that where the red pilled community and even the MAGA community have gotten it wrong, and where they fail in their or where they fail in their fight. And I'm not even saying that they can win this fight. I'm saying where they fail. Number one, thinking you can kick people's behind and beat them up. That's not always true. And you do two things. When someone is oppressive, you fight or you flee. I mean, the third option is also, keep a low profile, which most people are doing. They just basically keep a low profile and do nothing. But there is something you can do. Number one, you can boycott. And number two, you can be more accepting of people who have fallen from grace and say, you're not going to live by the terms of the left. The left has no forgiveness, and the left has double standards, and you don't have to deal with their hypocrisy and their foolishness. Now, I mentioned my one Twitter is, walk against the woke, and I said that you should boycott the left. You should boycott the woke left. And someone put on my Twitter page that we don't have the discipline. Those who are against the woke left, and there are a number of people that are against the woke left. There are Christians, atheists, Muslims, Jews, free thinkers all over should be against these people because they're not about free thinking. They're about obedience, and they're about subjugation. In my opinion, if the less they have to take away from you, the stronger you'll be. You don't need their food. You don't need their drink. You don't need their entertainment. You can go somewhere else. You don't have to be, you don't have to go to their so-called churches of Hollywood and see their depravity and see their vileness. You don't have to do any of that. And you certainly don't need to drink their beer or their whiskey or whatever product they're selling you. You could completely walk away and say, I'm going to go to an alternative, someone that at least hears me out and gives me respect. I was going to mention about Martin Luther King and MLK. And that, by the way, a lot of conservatives have taken on that mantle. In my opinion, I don't agree with that. Once you strike me or hit me, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to resist and fight back, or I'm going to flee. Yeah, we have a parallel economy, and that's the best. That's, I guess, what we need to a degree. And there are over 70 million of us who can, build this parallel economy. Maybe 30 million, and maybe millions more, even outside of the country, because I think this is a worldwide thing. It's not just America. Woke leftism is putting its hands in the West, primarily in the Anglosphere, but India and a number of other countries that we can even go to where we don't have to deal with people who disrespect us and hate us. And to me, when you disrespect me, you don't love me. When you refuse to hear me, you don't love me, and you don't love the person that I am. And when you just want obedience and you disrespect me, okay, you've shown what you are. And one of the things also that the red pill community does is they strive to get a conversation with a leftist. I think that's a waste of time. I think we need to talk to one another, and we need to find strategies, economic strategies, that we can do to defeat these people, or at least to put a chink in their armor. And maybe we won't win, but you got to do something. And Bud Light has shown us the way that if you disrespect us and you go against, like, I mean, and you're so arrogant, we can hurt you. And we're buying from people that hate our guts and despise us. Why would you go into a store where people spit on you and don't want you to talk but let others talk? That's not acceptable. Anyway, this has been Brian with Transparency and Merit. Hey, thanks for the people that are listening now. I really appreciate that. And hopefully, I hope for discipline and positive action against what I see it as a cancer within society. And dealing with a cancer sometimes is difficult. Chemotherapy is difficult. And it may take a chemotherapy. It may take cutting off, a virtual body part. So anyway, thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for listening. I thank you all. And I'll be coming back sometime soon. Thank you.